Our guest speaker this morning is just a phenomenal person. She's been a Harmony member for 20 years. She was ordained 6 years ago. She has a PhD in psychology and in research. She specializes in trauma issues with children and adults. She does counseling. She facilitates clients to reach their full potential. She is a breast cancer survivor. She's a fighter. She's a gifted medium, well-written, well-spoken, and without any further ado, Reverend Dr. Felicia Ferraro. Gifted to be able to not only say that she's a ministerial colleague, but also a friend.
Yes. We support each other. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just dismiss everything you just heard.
Too late.
Just me. No, not true. How are you today? I see it's raining, so we have a little bit of a shortcoming here, but that's all right. They say those who come forward can hear the message, and it doesn't mean that you need to hear the message. It means that you're the one who might deliver the message to someone else. So keep that in mind. So I wanted to talk to you today about something very intense in a way, but I'm going to lighten it up. My daughter always tells me, she says, my gosh, when I come in, she comes in my room and I'll have something on like The Wicked Women, you know, channel 135, all the crimes that were committed and things like that, or murder or disappearance. She says, oh my God, how could you stand this stuff? And it just upsets her. And I don't know why, you know. It's a strange gift, but I'm an Aquarian, and Aquarian are known for being somewhat detached and aloof. And in an ironic way, a wise old woman told me once, you know, Felicia, that is your gift, because if you weren't detached, you couldn't handle all these topics. So there I am. Hopefully that works. But whatever, we are who we are. Sometimes I ask God, why do you put me in this position? And, you know, it's like, Lord, if you put me in this position, you better give me the strength to keep going, because I have to come up with the right answer sometimes. But I want to talk to you about the 7 deadly sins. And quite honestly, it's said that they're not mentioned in that context in the Bible. They're not actually referred to as 7 deadly sins. However, the 7 sins are mentioned throughout the Bible. Okay? And they are the sins of pride, the sins of greed, the sins of envy, the sins of lust, coveting someone else's goods, sloth, and that was a word I had to look up myself. It was a sloth. I think a slob, or the steeple. No, a sloth is a lazy person who doesn't use their talents. That's what a sloth refers to in most cases. And then anger, we can all relate to that. We've all been there, anger. And gluttony, which of course is greed. I've seen destruction of people within my family as well on numerous ones of these sins, if you want to refer to it that way. In the Catholic Church, of course, these last 4 are considered cardinal sins, so those are really mortal sins that you could really go to hell for in the Catholic Church. You know, in our church, you know, we just say the worst that's going to happen to you here is you're going to come up with, it's going to materialize and manifest as a disease in your own body, and that's where our mind, body, spirit, and holistic beliefs comes to mind. When we're dealing with so-called sins, they're really travesties on our own selves, because everything that we do that is to harm someone else or take something that doesn't belong to us, all of that creates the karma that comes back to us. Now, in the Catholic religion, that would be your mortal sins again. With your grace bank would be depleted. You know, because if you did good deeds, anybody here Catholic? You go through that training? All right. So if you're good and you do good things, you get your grace bank filled. Every time you help a little old lady across the street, every time you say a compliment to somebody, you're going to get a grace bank, you know, deposit. But if you're bad, all that comes out, and when you go to the heavenly gates, it's closed, and you're going the other way. Okay, in our particular beliefs, we don't go quite that severe, but the truth is, in our walking earthly selves, if we're not good in spirit and we're not free of these 7 deadly sins, we cause ourselves the disease. And we may think we're harming somebody else, but in reality, the destruction comes back on us. I want to focus on the particular one, anger. That's one that we can all relate to, I think. We've all been angry sometime. I know I certainly have. Reverend Sheila referred to me as a fighter. I will have to admit that one's true. I am a fighter. I do not like the word no. If somebody tells me no, I got to do it. Whatever it is that I had to accomplish, I will do it. And I just used that an example in a young man just this week. He was 28 years old, injured on a construction job, absolutely no self-esteem about getting retrained, learning other things. Meanwhile, his IQ went off the chart, and he was up in, like, gifted ranges. And so sadly, somehow he dropped through the cracks over the years. And so I said to him, I said, why didn't you call the college and, go talk to them because your counselor told you to? He said, oh, I just thought that they wouldn't want me, because I didn't do good in high school. I said, oh, there's your first mistake. I said, don't ever give up so easily. You go in there and you fight for everything you want. So I do fight. It doesn't always work because I remember being in 5th and 6th grade. I was 1 year behind my brother. I had an older brother. He got into a fist fight with somebody on the way to school. We grew up in New Haven, so it was like inner city, it was rough. Somebody was beating him up and was on top of him. Well, I wasn't about to stand for that. I had my umbrella, and I just whacked the heck out of that boy's back. And I swear, my brother killed me when we went home. Don't you ever do that to me in public again. So I'll never forget that. So that was the beginning of my fighting days, defending me and my own. That's the way it goes. But even in my family, I would fight for things. But for us, when we project anger can be positive. It can be healthy if you're working through some emotions that you need to process. If you're so passive that you let others kind of walk all over you, sometimes it helps to get angry. And of course, in education or psychology field or health field, if you may have heard the term where it says, sometimes it's good to show some teeth. So even with your children sometimes, if you're easygoing, you're too lax, and they're taking advantage of you, once in a while you got to lay in the law and tell them they have to go to timeout or whatever it is. So I laugh when I say that because I have a 2.5-year-old granddaughter who puts herself in timeout. I said, you just did that was bad. She goes, timeout. She's kind of trained, and she sits there for 2 minutes.